in the East Tampa area, and then also in several other census tracts that are low to moderate income businesses that serve East Tampa. So we're talking 140 businesses, next level training, folks that you may or may not know are going to be participating. And then on top of that, you know what, Dr. Cusseaux,
All
we're
right.
going to provide a financial stipend to those who complete it. Of course, it's going to benefit those small businesses that are at, in Wakanda. But it's also going to touch those businesses who serve and work in Wakanda. So I'm excited about that, about this partnership, about what's to come. So those are two major things that are happening that are going to directly benefit our community.
That is fantastic. And we've been saying for years, it's happening at 5508.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
Marcus, you heard Blue talk about Wakanda.
Yes.
You may not have known it when you took the tour here, but this campus, the 5508 campus, is Wakanda.
And it produces vibranium. And look, and here's the thing though, and a lot of, and it's one of those things, and it won't be for long. We call it the best kept secret. Here's what's interesting about this pandemic, guys, is that this has been we in April, we got news that there was going to be a shutdown, only essential businesses and all of that good stuff. Between April and September, we had the largest surge of new entrepreneurs come out there. Um, App developers, folks that develop hand sanitizers, again, a mask company,
Mask.
karate studio. I mean, we're out of space, and unfortunately having to turn people away. So I know this. The law, the some of the large, the majority of the Fortune 500 companies that exist today were formed during the Great Depression.
Right.
So, it's crisis that creates creativity and innovation, and people are driven and forced to do other things. So we've been experiencing that firsthand. So, we're pivoting, trying to do some things virtually, but it's amazing, what's happening out there at 5508.
It is. It is. And so we welcome you guys to come back. And actually, you will be coming back. And this is a perfect segue for Ed Johnson and Marcus Marks to come and talk to us about the last time they were guests on our show. The show was East Tampa CRA 101. So I
Correct.
hope we've graduated to the next phase, which is what's next, part two.
Oh
Ed
yeah.
Johnson, give us
All
a
right.
refresher course, CRA, the scope, the funding, and then we'll jump into what we can do as residents and business owners for this new and another acronym, SAP.
All
Tell us
right.
what's
Well,
happening.
thank you, Dr. Clouseau. That
No,
Clouseau, the
Only Derek does that because he knows
uh,
that's my
hey,
next step, a PhD, and so he's been speaking it
hey,
for years, for a
listen,
while now.
listen. I want to honor you by giving you
That's
the
right.
doctor. Matter of fact, Derek has another doctor on his board, Dr. Frank Crum. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yes,
call Frank Crum Dr. Crum also. So, we got a lot of doctors in the house, and
Yes, we do.
soon we're gonna have a real doctor over here. Marcus Marks is working on his PhD also. So,
oh, okay.
Wow.
yeah,
This is
so
awesome.
that's
This is
what it's all about. It's about advancing our people.
That's
Yes.
right.
Correct.
advancing the
So
culture.
no,
Well, you're about to do just that. So take it away
yes, I
again.
appreciate again. I appreciate you giving us an opportunity to come on your show to talk about the East Tampa CRA because unfortunately there's a lot of misconceptions about what the CRA is and what it does and how it's funded. And as I talked a little bit about the CRA the last session in our opening session, I really want to talk today about making sure that your listening audience understands exactly how a CRA gets funded. And it's very crucial for people to really understand that, because the misconceptions out there are that, you know, because they hear the word tax increment financing, people think that they're going to be taxed to be able to take money to use for the betterment of folks that look like you and I in underserved communities. And when people in the broader communities hear that, they're in the attack mode. You know, they want to attack us all the time. So what we really want to try to do here today is to really try to help people understand that these dollars that are being used in what is defined as the community redevelopment area under the acronym of tax increment financing is really taxes that were already paid. The taxes are already paid by the property owners in that targeted designated area. So when your taxes get paid to all of the taxing authorities, which include the city of Tampa, Hillsborough County, the Port Authority, the Children's Board, any entity that has a tax obligation are the individuals that the ad valorem taxes are paid to. The only difference that comes into play when tax increment financing comes in to be able to utilize those funds to be reinvested back into a targeted community is we capture the incremental increase from year to year as property values increase over time. So in 2004, when the East Tampa CRA was created, all of the tax base for that targeted 7.73 square miles gets captured and frozen in time. So in 2004, we captured the annual taxes that were paid to all of those taxing authorities. And at that time, that number was a little over $492 million. That that dollar amount is what gets paid to all of those taxing authorities from that targeted area. Then over time, as property values increase from year to year, so from that base year that was established to the next year of 2005, the property values increased because there was a big run up in tax or the sales prices of properties that were taking place, that were transacting in the East Tampa community during 2005. Those numbers were going crazy. The mortgage payments were going crazy. The home prices were going crazy. So there was this big run up. So we had a huge increase from the base year of 2004 to 2005. We only capture the incremental difference between that base year and that next year. That very first year in 2005, we were able to capture $1 million the very first year into the East Tampa CRA. All of the other tax revenue still goes to all of those taxing authorities. They still get their taxpayers. They don't lose the tax dollars that were paid to them. The only difference is that they agreed to give up the incremental difference from the increase from year to year that is then captured, placed into a trust fund, and then we get to reinvest that back into the East Tampa community. So the very first year, we were able to capture $1 million. And I always like to start off on that and make this comparison.
Okay.
The EBOR CRA was the first CRA that was established in the city of Tampa in 1988. It took the EBOR CRA 11 years to get to their first $1 million.
Wow.
We did that in the very first year because of the increase in property values and the transactions taking place during that run up. Okay. So people need to understand it's not new taxes that are being used to be able to create the dollars that get reinvested in this community. These are taxes that were already being paid to the taxing authorities. We're only capturing that little bitty incremental difference. But because of the increase in property values, that instrument became very large. Well, over time, we were able to capture a little over $28 million in the
Wow.
first 7 years of the CRA. Those $28 million were then reinvested back into programs and policies and programs and infrastructure improvements that were necessary to make the improvements that we have seen over the last several years in East Tampa. And I say improvements, and I really mean that. Folks can sit back and say and complain all they want that nothing's ever happened in East Tampa. That is bogus. We've had over a $500 million in new investment back into this community as a result of creating this CRA. So for those that want to demonize and chastise us for not doing anything, look, the proof is in the pudding. You know, the investment is there, and I see Derek shaking his head. He knows for real that investment did take place since 2004 into this community. Are we finished? No. We have an opportunity now now to continue to reinvest back into this community. Uh, we had a downturn in the economy that happened in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Our CRAs did not benefit from that. Matter of fact, we were generating zero revenue because the housing market crashed,
Right.
and that made a big, huge impact on our tax revenue. We were actually generating zero tax dollars for almost 3 years. So we went from, in 2013, we went from zero to about a little over $100,000 in fiscal year 14, 15. And then property values started to increase again. Why? Because people were still making investments into this targeted area. And as new investment happens, properties change hands. When properties change hands, there's a new sale. When that new sale happens, there's a tax collected. That's how we generate revenue back into our CRAs. So as the economy started to change and started to increase again, our increment started to increase again. So we went from zero to $30,000 to $700,000 to again $1 million. And now guess what happened this past fiscal year that started
Tell us.
October
Tell
1?
us.
Generated $5 million into increment
Wow.
that we are currently budgeting now for this fiscal year to be able to reinvest back into this community. So that's how the revenue gets created. What happens as a result of the CRA agency creating the community advisory committee process, the advisory committee then makes recommendations on how that $5 million gets spent year to year. So during the annual city's annual budget process, the advisory committee meets and makes recommendations to the CRA agency on how it wants to reinvest that $5 million. So it has formulated its budget, which was approved during the last budget cycle in October or September. That September led up to 1st of October is when our fiscal year started. That budget we are currently in fiscal year 21. That's a little over $5 million budget that has been recommended and approved by our city council acting as the CRA agency. Those dollars now have been pushed to our existing programs that we already had in play and new ones. We have $500,000 that's being reinvested in housing rehabilitation. That's one of the new programs that we're
Okay.
investing in housing for seniors and low income individuals, where we're given the ability to have $15,000 per individual house as far as rehabilitation goes. There's also $400,000 was pushed to a program for educating for first-time home
Awesome.
buyer education program and down payment assistance. So again, another $15,000 per individual that qualifies for down payment assistance for purchasing affordable housing in East Tampa. That's where our dollars go. Okay, the dollars go to these kind of programs. So the budget has already been approved. It's already in the works, and we're just excited that and understand that with business that Derek is bringing to 5508 and other
Yeah.
businesses that are coming to the East Tampa community, that's gonna give another indication that property values will again increase and
Mhm.
continue to increase because we have people that are interested in this community. One of the things I also like to talk about, we we allowed several of our properties. We spend a lot of money on land acquisition because that is another area that the TIF invest in, where we purchase land that can then be used for reinvestment purposes. We did that in a small project that spearheaded home ownership development. We were not generating any new private single family development until that project kicked off. When it kicked off and was successful, now we have 15 private sector home builders that are now building new single family homes in East Tampa. Some are
That's
affordable and some are not. Some are market rates, some are market driven. But now we have the interest of private developers now concentrating on building single family homes in East Tampa that now are offering different product types, which is necessary for growth in this community. So all of those things are happening as a result of the little bit of dollars that we've been able to disperse throughout our CRA to be able to entice private investment. That's what it's all about. Being able to make the improvements in this community that will then spearhead private development.
Oh, Ed, that's fantastic.
Hope
And
I captured
you've got a
the.
perfect example here with the THAP group, and as you heard Derek talk about at the beginning of the show. And so as we're listening to you, keywords, not taxes, not taxes. It's what they did and what they are doing for us. Properties exchanging hands is creating that incremental difference for this 7 mile area we call East Tampa. And that magical number, and this is something that Marcus loves to talk about too, in making sure that we have addressed blighted areas in our communities. And now you're hearing Derek talking about a warehouse coming right here on the FAP Group's campus, where all are benefiting from this. Derek comes to us on the first hour of the show to always give us a blueprint. But before we go to commercial, we at least want to hear Marcus's passion about what's getting ready to happen. And we're going to come and talk about, you talked about what's happening in the private sector, you talked about what's happening with our residents, and you talked about the grants and the funding and the improvement that's happening again with homeowners and homeownership, first time homeowners, buyers. And then there are the businesses. And that's where Blue gets to come in as a business owner myself. He's a business owner, gets to come in. But Marcus, take us out for commercial. The next 2 minutes. What does all of this mean to you and the task that has been handed? I guess Ed is kind of like giving you a mantle right here. Maybe he's
Yes,
giving you the
ma'am.
baton.
So what I look at this as myself, being able to learn some of the very historical details and some of the identity that we need to understand going forward. A lot of us new entrepreneurs and new generation, as what they would like to call call us. When we take the mantle and we're going forward with what's been given to us, we have to take the baton. We can't just run the race and leave the baton behind. We'll lose.
Yes.
So my biggest thing is looking at the fact that instead of complaining about what's not happening, we have to participate. We have to get out here. The SAP, the Strategic Action Plan, is the development for what we're going to be taking forward with us. So as I walked around the community, and I also went to visit Derek Blue's location, he has a lot of success stories. One of them is someone I actually now use as one of my tailors, and he is
Okay.
actually has a place in West Shore. So it is an amazing setup that we have to use our community as a platform. But you can't do that by just complaining. You have to participate. You have to come out as a business owner and let yourself be known. You have to be your own advertisement sometimes. As
Amen. And we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about advertisement, and that is a success story. Ricardo's. Matter of fact,
yes,
if you look at, well, Derek switched his background, but when he comes back to the background of the 5508 campus, I believe he actually has on an outfit that came from, or the jacket it came from. Well, you call it Ricardo's, but yeah, on our campus, it's the Style Lab. So back in a minute, guys. Back in a minute.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan.
And we are back. Welcome back to Let's Talk Business with SJC. I'm here with my co-host for the first hour of the show. Derek Bloom, did you hear what Ed Johnson said? The CRN?
Yes, I did.
The incremental difference, the surplus is $5 million for East Tampa?
Yes, it's amazing. And that's the thing. And what really, really stuck out is kind of what both gentlemen said, is that sometimes it's easy to complain about what's not happening and not celebrate what has already happened.
That's right.
What I hear, when I look at all of these pieces of the puzzle, I see an ecosystem at work. I see investment in communities, investment into businesses. What we do see by what Ed was saying too is that you have people that are actually spending money in East Tampa, but it's not going to happen overnight. But it is starting to happen, and we see it. We see it. Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. Well, you get to have this great testimony, and I'm a little prejudiced because I am 5508. I am 5508. But Derek, tell us a little bit about the 5508 campus, because I'm looking behind you, and that's one of my favorite pictures. And behind you are all these amazing Black businesses.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. It's 5508 is a perfect example of what progress looks like. when I first 12 years ago, I got connected to 5508 as it wasn't even called 5508, it was just SAP. And it came with a reputation that preceded me. However, what we see is us taking a storage facility that was an eyesore in the community.
Absolutely.
One of my first initiations into leadership was evicting a person who was living inside of it and who had lived there for nearly a decade. And you're talking drug, a place for drug use, a place. I mean, it was an eyesore in that community, if everybody is honest. And what you see is with 5508, you see progress. You see that us taking a look at something not for what it is, and but looking at it for what it actually could be. And it took the people in the community pulling together. It took solid leadership, consistent leadership, not complaining about history, but forging into the future. And what we see, nearly 12 years later, is a hub that holds 40 plus small businesses. I mean, we have Ed, Cheryl, you guys know, we have people who've changed tax brackets that came right out of 558, who started with a book bag and a laptop and are now millionaires who are grossing millions of dollars per year.
Hello, Ben Walker.
You have Ben Walker. You have you have, companies like Ram Bill Construction. You have Rick Rollins, who still has a space, but now he's been able to move out. You have all of these success stories, and the thing about it, those are our billboards, and
Yes.
that they're testaments that progress is happening. We have to be patient, and we have to recognize, that the blight didn't happen overnight.
That's right.
It was generational. There were, there were systemic reasons, and still are, that we still have to contend with in our communities. And instead of fighting those who are working, instead of fighting those who are working to make a difference, why not we come together like every other community? Our dollar stays in the community for less time than it takes to watch a sitcom on television. It's gone. So let's start working on solutions.
All right, and really, the East Tampa, the team that's working, and Ed will be able to tell us a little bit about it. But I love the tagline: "Lift up your voice." This is a time to lift up your voice with a positive and supportive message. And I can attest to, and you may not know this, Ed. I mean, I know we've known each other for a long time, but I actually came here and I did a project with SAP, and my office was actually in New Tampa. And I was here and working with Mr. Hammond, and so they charged me with the task of creating a program in order to bring potential business owners here. And as a result of that, remember, Derek, it was our place, your space. Every Thursday we did tours, and really some of the businesses, probably over half of them, came as a result of that. Some are still here, and others have gone on. And you will have continuous. I'm still here. I decided. Mr. Hammond said, "Where's your office?" And so I said, "New Tampa." And they were in the pre-construction era then. But I caught the vision, and I said, "I need to move my office here. I need to move my office here." And I have been here. I am Team That. I have been here ever since. And so it's great that we get to share these stories, and now we get to participate. And Ed, here's your great opportunity to tell us about the launch that's happening this week.
Before I even pass on this baton, because I'm gonna have Marcus talk about the events that are coming up this week, because I want to make sure that people understand that we hired Marcus for a reason. We hired him because we knew that he had the passion for this work, and he had a passion for working in a community like ours. And I want to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a man, and passing on the knowledge that I have to to the next generation that's going to take the baton and move it even higher than I would have ever thought possible, for that matter. And I know I have the right young man to do that. And I want to make sure that I want to make sure that the community out there knows that Marcus has been put in this role to be a manager, not somebody's go-to person to shuffle some papers around. He is going to manage this project, and I want to make sure people understand that it's not me. It's going to be Marcus. I'll be here just like Derek is with 5508. I'll be here, but I want people to understand that Marcus is going to be the voice of this strategic action planning process. And one other thing before I pass the torch, Cheryl, if I could, Derek hits on something very special to me, and that's making sure that we as a people understand that we have to collaborate with each other. We have to start sharing with each other. And Derek knows that one of the things that I do all the time, if I have an idea or if I have somebody brings an idea to me, I come knocking on his door. I want to make sure that I can get him more involved in the process. And that's why you have the mask making company there on site. I brought Mr. Kalu Watanabe to Derek's doorstep on another project.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the mask project. It was another project that the relationship grew. And then when this opportunity surfaced, Kalu said to me, I got to talk to Derek about this. He didn't want to talk to me about it. He wanted to talk to Derek about it. That's what this is all about, is building these kind of relationships that we share with each other. And we got to help each other grow our businesses.
Absolutely.
And you know what, Derek? I'm here supporting and working with Marcus, the area business group, Thomas Huggins, and guess who else from the 5508 campus? Carrick Williams Photography has already produced their first video for this project. How cool is that? That's collaboration.
That's collaboration.
That was one of the other entities I was making sure that was attached to this project. I want to make sure, and I mentioned to the GAI group that we got to have the photography and the footage to cover this project, and I want it to be somebody from the community. So they asked who. So there again, we reached out and said, yeah, who? It's going to be Carrick Williams. That's who it's going to be.
Wow.
And you know what, Derek? When they asked about the media, I said, who? It will be In Touch. And so if you look at the In Touch online digital version, you'll see the flyer already in print. And you all are guests on our show, In Touch News Radio. Again, that's the third collaboration, and more to come down the line. Okay, Marcus, you ready? You the man.
I'm ready. Well, it's hard to kick off from something like Ed Johnson, but I just want to make sure everyone understands that this week we're going to be rolling out. We're initializing the project basically, so we're collecting all data needed to move forward with the strategic plan. So this week in particular, we'll be dealing with Thursday night. It's going to be dynamic. We're going to have a Zoom meeting that everyone can go to www.weareeasttampa.com. Weareeasttampa.com. That is going to be a pillar that we're going to put as the community's voice. We're going to have Q&A on there. We're going to have anything that's going on there. We're going to even try to create directories that we haven't had before in the past, where businesses can be seen and stand out. So for Zoom, we're going to be having GIA to announce the going forth of what we'll be doing with the strategic plan. Haven't mapped out a lot of items yet. We're going to do a walk around to every community that is within the CRA platform. If people don't know our businesses, our residents don't know who your community leaders are, you actually can get a contact with us, and we can attach you to one, because everyone within the CRA surrounding has a community leader. Currently, for the CAC advisory board committee, is Chairman Burton. She's an amazing speaker. She's gonna go forward with this for the community, and she's a great person to reach out to and find out which direction we'll be going. But each community leader is going to play a very strong role in this. And I'm referring to the board that Ms. Cheryl had up a minute ago that labels each, I'm going to call it association that deals with each, it's who the CAC is listening to basically, is up now from for Ms. Cheryl. So Saturday, we're also going to have the Reagan Park. Everyone, I would want you to show up. I'm almost scared to say, come up because of the COVID. But look, we have to move forward in some way. We're going to have you guys safe. We're going to have all things safe for you guys. So if you're fearful to come out because of the COVID, trust me, we're not going to let this one be a super spreader. We have taken all the precautions out. Miss Cheryl has done an amazing job to roll that out. GIA has done an amazing job, and we're going to continue that on. That would actually start at 10 a.m. and it will run through 1 p.m. We're going to have some amazing setups on that day. So please come out for that.
All right, that's fantastic. So again, give us those dates. And then after you finish, and let me take this opportunity to thank you both. I know you're going to stay here because you want to hear what Derek Blue has to say with what's happening over here at 5508. But Marcus, give us the dates again. We will post those dates, and as we have, the flyer is on our e-blast going out, and we'll share it with Derek so that he can post it on THAP's In Touch News has been posted, and of course we know the Florida Sentinel. So we are all doing our part to make sure that our residents and our business owners are hand in hand with Marcus to make sure that the surveys are completed and turned in. Yes. All right, Marcus, the dates?
Every voice will be heard on the 3rd and the 5th. I'm sorry, the 3rd and the 5th. On the 3rd, we're going to be having the Zoom. That's going to be from 6:30 to 7:30. You're going to have Councilman Goulds, which he is actually the chairman for the CRA board. And we're going to have CAC chair Connie Burton speaking on the Zoom, as well as on WTMP for the December the 5th from the 10 o'clock a.m. to 1 p.m. For the Reagan announcement. So we're going to have a good setup where people can answer some amazing questions.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, thank you guys. I'll see you on Saturday. Community, here is the opportunity because every voice counts. Every voice matters. If you have something to say, lift up your voice. And now the voice next with the blueprint is Derek Blue.
Thank you, Dr. Cusseaux. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. It's information. There's a book that I read a lot that says, without a vision, people perish.
The people perish. I got that book.
Yeah, it's a good book. And, it's important that we have a vision and that we have a blueprint. One of the things that I'm excited about is, I would say our city's leadership. I think by and large, Tampa, this region has some of the best leadership. We may have our challenges just like any other municipality, but we have solid leadership and we have good people that work in this city. And one of the things that I'm excited about is the piece of the block that we have responsibility over, and that's 5508. We've been able to receive funding from the city of Tampa, as I mentioned, to launch THAP's Accelerator program. You know that we are a business incubator and we incubate businesses. We incubate micro businesses. Businesses that may not be able to thrive outside in other areas, they can come to 5508 and kind of have their training wheels. So we're partnering with the city of Tampa with this accelerator program where we're going to touch outside of the 40 plus businesses at 5508. We're also going to be able to touch over 100 in the community. We plan to partner with a few chambers. We're partnering with the SBA, the Carol Miners Group. We're partnering with Thomas Huggins.
Yes. Early.
and others to put together this accelerator. And the aim of it is to accelerate those businesses. You know, one thing that was very, very disturbing was the fact that the government was giving away a ton of money, and many micro businesses, particularly businesses who are owned by people of color, could not receive the funding because their books were not in order. They did not have simple things like accounting software, profit and loss statements, and balance sheets, and things that would be required to get money. And that's disturbing when you really, really look at it. And so one of the things that we're doing with this initiative is we have a financial focus, one component, and that's making sure that you understand how important your financials are to the success of your business. We plan to be touching on things like understanding growth strategies and how to scale your businesses. Now, in other sides of the town, that's common knowledge.
Yeah.
However, sometimes, you know, for our communities, it's not. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to take those funds and we're going to invest them in the community. Not only are we going to, this will be a training like none other, a series of trainings. And, you know, we often talk about training, and we're not short on trainings in our communities. But one of the things that's missing is mentorship.
Okay.
People who have proven track records, who are not afraid to share information. And as we've been talking throughout this entire broadcast, passing the baton on. And we have people with proven track records who've been there, who've done that, who are going to help these entrepreneurs. And look, it's free. This, look, we talk, people talking about the investment that the city is making right here at 5508. This money is going into the community. It's going right back in the community, into the small businesses, and we're going to do it right here at 5508. You know, I'm excited. You know, the pandemic is making it to where we couldn't gather. You know, we transformed that warehouse at one point into a dance hall.
Yes, we did.
But
Dance
again,
hall, a theater.
yeah, it was everything, right? And you know, I played basketball, and you know, I was pretty good too. I was 100 pounds lighter, but I was pretty good. But one thing about it is that when you get the ball and you pick up the dribble, it doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can use your pivot foot.
Yes.
So pivoted. We pivoted, and as Ed mentioned, building relationships has always been important. Ed and I have a great relationship, and have always had one since I've known him. And one connection that he made that he really didn't have to make led to something else, that led to something else, that led to us having a mass company out. Now, what's important about this mass company is this. Number one, there are 100. By the time we're done, it'll be about 200 jobs right there in East Tampa coming out of 5508. What does that mean? 200 taxpayers who will support those small businesses right there out on the campus, who will support the food trucks and the food vendors that will be coming out there, who then spend money in the community. And here's the thing, who will eventually partner with us on larger projects, which will add to the work that's already being done in the CRA, specifically in East Tampa. And what you have now is us saying, look, we'll dance later. Right now we need to survive. We'll throw events later, but right now we need to survive. And we're putting 2,500 masks into the community every single month. People are coming by. We were, and forgive me, I can't think of the school that came, but we were able to issue masks to a school through our partnership with that company. To kids who may or may not have masks, we go into the communities through our weatherization program. We serve 100 people per year through funding from the Department of Economic Opportunity. Cheryl, you know, we are in the community and we're able to give masks out to the elderly people that we work on their homes. People with compromised immune systems who have HIV, through our Synergy program, we're able to give out masks every single month along with gift cards.
Fantastic.
So whereas you may not And that may change this 2021. You may not see a lot of what we're doing, but I can assure you that the THAP group is alive and well, and is serving the community. We're doing, I say this a lot, we'll be sexy later. Right now, people have needs, and our goal is to try to meet those needs. And I think, people like the city of Tampa and other entities are paying attention to that. And, we plan to continue to grow our footprint in the city of Tampa and in Polk County.
All right. Well, now, Derek, I got a question. Let's go back to the Accelerate program. Now, you mentioned that it was free. It's free to the business owners that will be participating. How long is the program, and what's the end result? And mind you, we've got a couple of minutes.
Okay, so I'll be quick. So the program will last around between 12 and 16 weeks.
Okay.
It'll be very, very, but you'll have that personal touch throughout 2021. And then the end result is this, we're going to provide you with a few coins ourselves, but then also we want these businesses to be bankable.
Yes.
What's stopping you from doing that? I know, I have some colleagues who throughout the pandemic, banks love to lend to people who don't need it. And I have colleagues right now who've been investing in real estate and loaning money out that they've received from the SBA, and it's getting people to be bankable and come out of this vicious cycle that after 3 to 5 years, your business fails. You had a good idea because you got your taxes, but you didn't have anything that was sustainable, and we want to change that. So what you'll get is knowledge, you'll receive money, and then you'll receive mentorship throughout this process.
That's fantastic. And you heard it right here on Let's Talk Business with SJC. So glad to have my co-host of the first hour back, Mr. Derek Blue, who laid out the blueprint and in connecting the dots from an architectural perspective. You've been able to tie in the CRA. You've been able to tie in the 5508 Collaborus. You've been able to bring in other business partners who we've worked with. And now we're all coming back together again to help our small businesses, and as well bring those dollars and have them circulating back into our community for longer than 6 hours. So welcome back, Mr. Blue. Glad to have you back. We'll hear more about it in future shows. And to our Facebook family, thank you so much for tuning in. We will reply back to all of you. We'll put our thank you message up there. As soon as Mr. Blue rolls out the accelerated program, we will also disseminate that information as well. Start looking for your surveys. If we don't knock on your door, it's coming in the mail or it's being emailed to you. Let's help Marcus Marks complete this project. Yes. And do it in style with evidence-based results. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Ed Johnson. Thank you, Marcus Marks. It's been a great conversation. This show is a wrap.